Hi, welcome to Kate Walker Training. This is Developmental Models of Supervision and ACES Best Practices. My name is Kate Walker. I have a PhD in counselor education, and I'm also an LPC and LMFT supervisor in Texas. Thanks for joining me today as I narrate this presentation. An overview of our presentation today will include, we're going to do 4 modules. Module 1, I'm going to review psychotherapy-based models of supervision. This is not a comprehensive review. If you would like more information, I encourage you to go to Kate Walker Training, Theories of Counseling and Supervision. It's another review. I go over 5 theories of counseling and 5 theories of supervision. And it's a little bit more in depth. Of course, it's nowhere near your master's level or PhD level theories course. However, for our purposes, it's a better review than this one because really I'm using it as a jumping off point to discuss developmental models of supervision. In Module 2, I'm going to discuss 4 developmental models of supervision that I consider and the research supports are foundational for our field. And Module 3, I'm going to discuss ACES best practices, and you'll have a link so you can actually go to the ACES website and download that for yourself. And then Module 4, as in all of our Kate Walker training courses, I'm going to discuss actual practical tools that you can use working with your interns. Okay, so let's talk about challenges and aspirations. If you're taking this course, you have a master's degree in the mental health field, and you're aspiring to be a supervisor, or you're already supervising mental health interns, and you're doing this as a refresher or maybe for continuing education. So one of the challenges might be your own knowledge. If you haven't really taken the time to do a CE on developmental models or theories or models of supervision, then you would aspire to be a little bit more flexible, to be thoroughly conversant with a number of theories and models, be open to the idea that these theories can all be unified in some way, and be willing to continually test your hypothesis to determine how well the blending is working, and also be aware of the criticisms of integrating. So another challenge is the level 1 supervisee skill set. Now, if you've taken my courses before, you know that I use the term supervisee and intern interchangeably. So when I think about the level 1 supervisee skill set, and I will go into level 1 in this presentation, this is the new graduate, or if you work with university practicum students, this is someone who's brand new, practicing their skills. And a challenge might be to think of them as already skilled. You know, they've come to you, they've got their master's degree, or they're in their last semester. So you would aspire to maybe have a system of evaluation and remediation. I talk about this more in the Kate Walker training course, Evaluation and the Multiculturally Competent Supervisor. If you are able to evaluate your brand new intern and discover their skill set, and then be able to appropriately set goals for them and then evaluate their progress toward those goals, and if needed, put a remediation plan in place, then that can help you see that intern as sort of the newbie that they are, and it will help you not focus so much on sort of punishing them for being less experienced in the field. Another challenge would be defendable actions. And when we think about being a good supervisor, we discuss things like being available for your intern. Are you communicating your expectations? Are you setting aside a reliable, regular time to meet with them to make sure that you're able to help them make progress? And so the aspiration would be to develop a best practices system. And that's why we include the ACES best practices. Another challenge for many supervisors is documentation and remediation. Some of us are amazing counselors, we're amazing clinicians, social workers, psychiatrists, whoever you are taking this course, but we're not so great at administration. Our paperwork skills aren't the greatest. Maybe we're not the most organized, and so the aspiration then, of course, is to develop systems to stay organized, to make sure that you're not the weak link when it comes to your intern's progress from this level 1 new supervisee to a level 3 intern who's ready to become your colleague. All right, so let's take a look at psychotherapy models of supervision. So the 5 that I've chosen for both my theories presentation and this presentation are psychodynamic, person-centered, cognitive behavioral theories, systems theories, and postmodern theories. Let's look at psychodynamic supervision. The key concepts: supervision is a process focusing on the intrapersonal and interpersonal dynamics of the supervisee's relationship with clients, supervisors, colleagues, and others. The primary focus of supervision is on the supervisee's development of self-awareness of these dynamics and how they affect therapy. So if you're a supervisor already, then you are aware of helping your intern develop their self-in-session or personalization skills. So key terms here are transference and countertransference, the working alliance, parallel process, and resistance. In person-centered supervision, key concepts: the supervisee has immense resources, the supervisor is not viewed as the expert, and the supervisee takes an active role in the process as collaborator. The quality of supervision hinges on the quality of the supervisor-supervisee relationship. Now, Rogers was one of the first to utilize electronically recorded interviews and transcripts, and he felt that only when students had direct access to their content could they really identify their tendencies in session and change them. And he felt supervision was more like therapy than actually teaching. So the role of the supervisor was to provide, or is to provide, an atmosphere of empathy, warmth, and genuineness, facilitate the supervisee's ability to be open to her experience so she can become fully present and engaged in the relationship with the client. And the role of the supervisor trusts the supervisee's potential for growth. Blocks to successful supervision might be that the supervisee can't accept the supervisor's trust in her potential for growth. So they're really fighting that autonomy. Another block might be your need to be controlling and directive. This may just not be your style. Or you have a really strong belief in the dynamic of the unconscious. So psychodynamic would be more your speed. CBT supervision, the key concept: goals and processes of supervision are presented in a specific and systemic fashion. The potential of the supervisee is defined in terms of their potential to learn. So your role would be to establish the relationship, analyze their skills, set goals for your intern, construct and implement strategies to accomplish those goals, follow up with evaluation, and then generalize your results to more learning. Of course, you would teach cognitive behavioral techniques, identify how your intern's cognitive picture of his or her skills affects his or her ability as a therapist, collaborate with your intern about an agenda for this next supervision session or future supervision sessions, continually assess and monitor your supervisee's progress, And then your role is to serve as the expert who will guide your intern into the correct learning environment. So in CBT methods include imagery exercises, behavioral rehearsals, role-playing, Socratic questioning, challenging supervisee cognitions, homework, and of course reviewing. I just have this really antiquated term here, audio and videotape sessions, but of course you all understand just any type of recording to help your intern get an idea of what they're doing in session. Systemic supervision concepts include identifying or working with your trainee's mental health as defined by relationships with his or her family of origin and the implications of those for their professional training and supervision. Their own knowledge of their family of origin dynamics and how that enables them to relate more effectively to the families they'll meet in their clinical practice. If supervisees don't understand their patterns of interpersonal behavior that they learned in their family of origin, they're likely to project feelings that they had toward their family onto their clients. And then we discuss, or we have in mind, isomorphism, which is the replication of those dynamics within the supervisory relationship, within your group supervision, and of course with your interns' clients. Your role in systemic supervision is to assist your intern in exploring their own family dynamics, encouraging them to identify patterns such as enmeshment, detachment, and triangulation. And if you are supervising a marriage and family therapy intern or associate, then make sure that you know your theories so that what you're telling them has theoretical consistency. You are active, you are directive, and you're collaborative. Constructivist approaches to supervision, key concepts. There's a heavy reliance on a consultative role for the supervisor. You downplay the hierarchy and you focus on your intern's strengths. As I talk about constructivist approaches to supervision, I'm going to be discussing solution-focused and narrative approaches. So you'll see in the slide titles as I discuss them, but I wanted to give you a heads up because I'm not going to make a huge pause when I go from talking about narrative to talking about solution-focused. Your role is to see that your intern is just beginning to develop their story as a professional. So you help them edit the story. You help them edit their own story. You take a stance of curiosity instead of the stance of the expert or knowing, and you invite your intern to participate actively as an editor of who he or she is as a therapist. Rather than didactic, you're helping them draw on their own resources, behave independently, and make changes. You understand that resistance resides in the relationship, so when it occurs, it's avoided by establishing a collaborative relationship. You focus on your intern's strengths rather than faults. You understand the snowball effect, and you focus on small changes rather than attempt only big ones. And you work to achieve what's possible rather than radical change in your intern. And you accept that there's no one correct way to understand or intervene. You attend to the positive in the client as well as in your intern. You serve as a consultant. You use language that supposes a possibility rather than those closed-ended questions that already assume that there's an actuality. And if your intern focuses on problems, you ask him or her about their achievements and their competencies. Now, as I mentioned before, this is not a comprehensive review of theories and models of supervision. If you'd like more information or if you would like to take the course where I focus on that, I encourage you to go to Kate Walker Training, Theories of Counseling and Supervision. The next module, Module 2, will discuss developmental models of supervision.